Alright everybody, this is Crack Tiger. I mentioned in my first video, not that I think anybody is watching my first video yet, but I mentioned that I went through this mental breakdown, and today I'm just going to talk about that experience and how it changed my life forever. So it started all the way back in last March, right when COVID was first coming to America, and we didn't really understand it, and I was kind of scared of it at the point. I grew up a Christian, and I started thinking, this could be the end of the world. But as a couple weeks went by, I didn't have to work, and I was making double the money I made when I was working by sitting at home. And I had got myself a set of weights, so I got to continue working out at home. And I got to go out to the park with my girlfriend every day and go for walks and runs and have food together that she would cook. And I realized that while the media was telling me the world was on fire, I was living my most enjoyable life, and I fucking loved it. So, as this went on for 3 months, I was at home doing nothing. And I started developing these philosophies of how to live my life, to not listen to this bullshit from the media, which is fine. But some of the philosophies, looking back at them, I see that they're okay for getting through struggle, I guess, but the main thing they were doing for me was making me just at peace and content with being a loser, because that's what I wasn't doing fucking anything. And so the place that I work at reopened, and it was a disaster. They mismanaged everything. They put me on a shift that I hated, and we would end up either working for 1 hour before we would get sent home, or doing 2 hours of overtime. You didn't know which. And it was all just stupid bullshit, but I was letting it drive me insane because I'd just been off for 3 months and I got lazy as fucking. It all bothered me. And I realized I wasn't living my life by these philosophies that I wrote down, and I really needed to apply these into the real world. So I did that, and it sort of helped me. But I started to feel kind of like I was above the rest of the world, that I was enlightened, I guess. And I started to, at a certain point, and the timing of this was incredible. And it's not really incredible because I know what happened. But I started to kind of doubt my religion of Christianity. And it felt like what I had there was it. I figured out the meaning of life. And and then a couple months later, as time went on, in October, I was getting into these Indian gurus and these weird spiritual practices and shit. And I ended up watching this video where a woman, I commented on the video, and a woman responded to me with this video saying that what I was practicing was demonic and that she had been demonically possessed. So I watched her video, and the thing about it was that I didn't fully believe that she got demonically possessed, but I believed that she believed it and she wasn't making it up. And that night I went to work, and when I got out of work, I laid down on my bed or on a couch, and I was just watching YouTube or something, and I felt this this energy in my legs that I had never felt before. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And so I was getting kind of concerned. So I went up and I took a shower to try to calm down. And then I went to go lay down in bed, and I closed my eyes, and I felt this pulsing in my forehead. And I had felt this sensation before when I was doing meditation and shit. But now I wasn't meditating, and it was just going on its own. And I was like, son of a bitch, what the fuck? And I sort of just dealt with it for the night. And then the next night, it started happening again. And now I was freaking out, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was driving circles outside of the hospital, ready to check myself in. And the only reason I didn't check myself in is because I thought, if there's a demon in me, these people are just gonna tie me up and think I'm fucking insane and not give me what I need. So I didn't go in the hospital yet. And then just time went on, and I started getting worse, and I couldn't sleep at night at all. And I was crying every night and going insane. I ended up going to like this holistic medicine shop, because I was sure American doctors wouldn't know how to help me. So I went to this holistic medicine shop and spent $10 on like a rock and a thing of sage. And finally I did. I went to the hospital, and obviously they couldn't find anything. There's nothing wrong with me. And I went to my family doctor, and the family doctor, she had actually practiced like meditation and stuff. And so I was really blessed that I got somebody who sort of understood what I was talking about. But what she did was she didn't have me committed or anything, but she did give me a number to a psychiatrist, and she did put me on psychiatric pills. And the whole thing at the time was just surreal, because I had never been on any type of medication or had any type of mental issues in my life, and now I was prescribed these pills that I thought I was going to have to take forever. And it just continued. I wasn't sleeping. I was running around. I was going to the gym, the park, then calling a doctor, calling the psychiatrist, calling a priest. I went out to a church in the middle of the woods, and like 45 minutes away from where I lived, to get this priest to try to get the demons out of my head. And finally, one day, about almost 2 weeks into not sleeping and crying every single night, I got in the car, and my intention when I got in the car was to let these demons completely take a hold of me in public, so that I would either freak the fuck out and have somebody would find me and hopefully get me the help that I needed, or I would crash my car and die. I was ready. I was done. I even told the doctor, they asked me if I was having like suicidal thoughts, and I told them that I wasn't going to kill myself, but the idea of waking up and doing this again tomorrow is not worth it. I'd rather die in my sleep than deal with this anymore. But as I was driving in my car, I realized there's no doctor, there's no pill, nobody's going to help me. So I turned to God, and I started praying in a different way. I had been praying this whole time, begging, please God, please get me out of it, please God. But this time what I did was I turned to him in complete faith. And I didn't have the faith to believe that he would cure me by the end of the night. But I had the faith to say, okay, God, I know before this day is over, you're going to give me a direction to get out of this. And within 20 minutes of saying the prayer, I saw this little sign on the side of the road that to me looked like something religious. Like it looked like the Virgin Mary sitting Indian style. And I passed it. And then I was like, oh, damn, that was probably my sign. So I turned around and I went back to it, and I saw that it was just for some like ice packing company or something. But I was like, oh, okay, that's probably my sign. I'm just going to follow it because it caught my eye. And as I turned down this road, this was a road that I never went down in the city despite living here my whole life. And suddenly it was like the roads were calling my name. And I just knew, okay, I got to turn here. I got to turn here. I got to turn here. I could feel the roads almost telling me you got to turn where I had to turn. And I ended up outside of this house where I saw a very clear sign. And if I say it, it's going to sound very random, but to me, I knew what it meant immediately as soon as I saw it. And it was telling me to call somebody in my life. It was telling me to call my former MMA instructor, who at this point I hadn't talked to for 5 years, and I had quit his class, and I felt it would be really awkward. So I went to the park and went for a run for a little bit, and I got back in the car, and I said the same prayer, and I intentionally took a different direction to get home. So I ended up on the other side of town, and the same thing happened. I saw this road, and it was just like this feeling like I need to turn down this road. So I did, and the same thing happened. And this time I saw like this building that said School of the Devine. So I was like, okay, that must be where I'm supposed to go. And I pulled in the parking lot, and I saw that it was just like a children's preschool or something. And I was like, okay, this isn't it. And I looked across the street, and I saw the same exact sign that I had seen on the other side of town. And I just pulled out my phone, and I texted my MMA instructor, and I was like, this is gonna sound weird, but God is telling me to talk to you. And at the time, I didn't know that he had the same phone number or anything. I had no contact with him for 5 years. So, and I didn't know, but he had moved all the way to Colorado. But he agreed to speak to me on the phone. And because of the time difference, he ended up talking to me at like midnight. So I went out in the freezing cold, and I didn't care. So I just started talking to him. And what he had me do eventually, he went through some other things that didn't really do anything. But he had me look up at the sky. And he just asked me, do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? And as I looked at the stars and the moon and the clouds and the infinite black sky, there was just no way I could say no to this question. I just knew it was the truth. And so I said yes. And when I was done talking to him, I finally got a decent night of sleep. And within 3 days, all of a sudden it was all over. I threw away the pills. I canceled my appointment with the psychiatrist. I canceled my exorcism with the priest that I was trying to get set up. I was done with all of it. And I was cured and felt better than ever. And then I went out with my family, and I finally felt normal again. I went out to eat, and then we split up. I went off to go do something else. And as I was driving home, all of a sudden I could see like every blade of grass on the ground. I could see every leaf and every little detail of every branch and every tree. And I had a vision while I was driving. And this vision showed me that throughout my life I had never been punished by God. That everything that I thought was bad that happened to me, it was good, because it led me away from the nonsense I was taking part in, and it helped me to grow. And I saw that there was nothing bad happening to me, and I didn't have anything to be afraid of. And what I realized was that if I'm connected with a power that can reach into my life when I was at my absolute lowest and manipulate the world around me to help me get out of it, there's nothing for me to be afraid of. There's no man, there's no woman, there's no enemy, there's no virus, there's no devil in hell that I have to worry about at all. So, and then about 2 days later, I went to the gym, and there was this guy there who I had seen before, but I never spoke to this guy at all. I just noticed him because he was loud, and he would pace around a lot. He had a very unique workout, and he looked like Kevin Garnett. And he just came up to me randomly while I was in between sets, and he was like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, okay, go ahead, talk to me. And he started talking all this stuff about you're saved, all this stuff that I kind of can't remember it right now, but it was very religious and spiritual, and about faith and the power of faith and being with God and the power of prayer. And I cursed at him. I was like, what the fuck? How the hell did you know this? And he was like, what? And I explained to him what happened, and this guy was like, he just knew. He somehow knew. And I calmed down a little bit, and after what I experienced, I was like, yeah, this isn't even crazy right now. I almost expect stuff like this now. So, and since then, it's been like, every day I get guided in some type of way. I know that I connected with God, and I know that my faith is the strongest thing that I have, which is why I'm making these videos now. It's why I've done the things in these past few months that I've done to get out of the state that I was in before the sickness, the state of being lazy and complacent and just okay with being a loser. And I don't want people to think that I'm being negative when I call myself a loser too. I'm happy. I'm happy that I can see it. I couldn't even see it before. So I'm glad. What I see it as is when I started to lose faith in my religion, I got scared to death, and that was God's way of calling me back to him, because I had nothing else to do other than turn to him in complete faith. There was no other way out for me. The medication didn't help. Nothing helped. No priest, no exorcism, no nothing. And when I had that vision, I broke down crying again, but this time it was just uncontrollable tears of joy. I never cried tears of joy in my life before. So yeah, that's my experience, and maybe it sounds weird to you, but it clearly fixed me. My life is totally different now and changed for the better in every single way, and I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of talking to this camera. I would have never done this before. And so yeah, that's why that's the power of faith.